Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, O'Neill, and today I have Simone Cameron
Yes.
as our guest. She's a social media guru or a social media expert. I'm going to let her kind of explain and introduce herself and what she does. But Simone has been part of social media marketing for many years, and it is a growing topic of discussion as it relates to your business, how you market in this day and age, your company. We're looking at the whole issue, or not issue, but the whole influx of AI and these different types of tools, and what does that mean for a business person or even a regular person who may not be running a business, but because of the access of social media and how prevalent it is in our society, we're going to discuss a couple of things as it relates to social media, things that we need to be mindful of moving forward and some of the trends that we see. So, Simone, if you want to just give a little intro.
Yes. So, yes, I am Simone Cameron, and my company is Anik Marketing Group. And, we're a social media marketing agency, but we're really full scale digital marketing because we do more than just social media. We do video marketing, email marketing, ads, the whole plethora, SEO, pay per click, like all of that. We want to be like the one stop shop for our clients. And really, we started out as a social media agency. And the way that it kind of grew is our clients kept on asking for, well, you've been doing this for us, but can you also do this? And my motto is everything is figure outable. So
Figure outable.
absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
that's an interesting word.
Yeah. So, so when and there actually is a book that's called, it's called Everything is Figure Outable. So I didn't come up with that. Yeah. But when they would ask me like, so can you do this? My answer was always, yes, I can.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would go figure it out. Right. And so that's kind of like how it like just kind of snowballed from one thing to the next. Because I think that my clients really, they trusted us. They trusted us with their brand, which is really what we want them to do. And so, they felt like, well, you're doing this and you're doing a great job. So we want to just keep everything in-house. And so that's how we became a full-scale digital marketing agency. And so we have clients all over the country, all over, just international clients that we've never met. And then clients in different, specialties, clients that we've never, we don't know anything about in terms of what it is that they do and things that we never were really interested in. Like my perfect example is I despise anything to do with taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really hate taxes. And when it comes to tax time, I just leave that with my husband and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with it. Then I had somebody who approached us and said, we want you to do our social. And it was a CPA agency. And I was like, oh, shoot me now. I want nothing to do with this. I don't know anything about like taxes. So long story short, we took them on as a client and he was like, Simone, you actually could be like an accountant, work for us. But yeah, it's not. It's just, but, we work with just all different industries and genres and that. So, yeah.
So it's something interesting because I know that at the beginning I said social media marketing, but really it is, it's digital marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what this really is. So
Yeah.
I have to remember that term because that's, I always thought it was social media marketing, but it's digital marketing.
Yeah. But I still brand my company as social media. So that's what it's always been, but I haven't really changed it. So yeah, I feel like they come in, the social media brings them in and then, we just kind of like, service them with the other things that we do as well.
I had a couple of questions that I think a lot of people it's pretty prevalent right now and in a lot of discussions in different groups, but it's the whole AI.
Mm-hmm.
And how is that impacting social media, but digital marketing as well? Most people say there's a place for it.
Yeah.
But how is that changing the outlook or the strategies surrounding marketing?
Yeah.
If you want to just speak on that a little bit.
Yeah. AI is like the buzzword, not just in like my realm, but it's like in every sphere. Like everyone's talking about AI, right? So it's the in thing. And I know that, you look on social and people are talking about the fact that marketers are going to lose their jobs because of AI. And to be honest, I got to tell you that when it first came out, I literally kind of thought that too. I thought, oh, this is it. I got to find something else to do because AI is going to take over. But what I've quickly learned is that there is a place for AI and there's a place for what it is that I do, right? And the two come together really well. So I think a lot of people just feel like if I just get AI to do my marketing, then I'm good. And you're not, because AI is not human, right? And so the thing that works with marketing and what's going to resonate with your audience is having that human side of your brand. And AI can never replace you. So we have to be able to pair our humanness with the AI bot, right? And so we have to be able to find that sweet spot between the two. And so we are still needed because the person has to know how to basically get AI to work for them, right? So there's so many things that you see out there where I've seen, like, a lot of people are saying, like, use this prompt when it comes to AI, and then you use the prompt and then it spits out something that's stupid, right? And it's something that doesn't resonate with your audience, right? So it's all about the user. You've got to know what to input into AI. And so for us, we use AI as a brainstorming tool to help us with ideas. It helps you to work faster, right? And so, for example, like, we do blogs for our clients. And so we have clients that are in like one area of or category when it comes to their industry. And so, for example, we could be writing a blog for, 20 home care agencies or whatever. And so it's like, how do I come up with 20 different ideas or topics? And so we use AI to help us to be able to brainstorm. Like, so what are some things that we should be talking about? And so it's great for us to be able to say, okay, great, this is really good. Just give me 20 different topics, and then you go away and then you actually build it. So what I'm finding is the problem is with AI when people are using AI for their brand is that they're taking what AI is giving them and they're using exactly what AI spits out, and that's what they're using on their social. What you will find is that AI is completely repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
It's very repetitive, and it gives you sometimes like some of the same themes. Obviously, we know that AI is not 100% correct, right? And so you've got to be able to fact check it, and you got to make sure that it actually speaks to your voice, your brand voice, right? And so sometimes I feel like AI can be very generic. So you have to be able to take what AI gives you and you got to turn it into something that suits your brand. So I think that there is a really good sweet spot or, between AI and between us as an agency where we can make it something that people are going to engage with. People are going to they're going to stop and they're going to watch and they're going to pay attention to. And I don't feel like AI can do that solely on its own. So it still needs us, and you need somebody to drive that engine. And that's our job, really, is to drive the engine with AI. And a lot of times, like, we don't 100% use what AI gives us, and especially like when it comes to images and output like that, right? So I hate AI images. I absolutely hate it. And I can spot it from a mile away, and I can spot AI content as well. So you've got to know how to use AI so that it works for you, but you're not using the entire output and using that on social or whatever it is that you're using it for.
And it's interesting because when I do speak with people, one thing that I know as it relates to AI is that it only outputs, or it's only as good as what you put into it.
Yes, absolutely.
And so you are right. I do think that the human element of inputting that information is what's needed in order for it to be effective.
Yeah.
And, provide the information that you need to assist, not do, but to assist in terms of whatever you're doing with AI.
Yeah. And there's just a quick story is I remember putting something into AI and then it spat something out. And then after I read it, and then I researched it myself, it was wrong. And so I went back to the platform and I said, hey, this is wrong, and then what it said to me was, you caught me.
Really?
Yes. That's exactly what it said. You caught me. Let me do that again.
Okay.
But it seemed, it seemed real.
Mm-hmm.
But if you didn't fact check it, it would have It would have been wrong, but it said, yeah, you caught me.
And that's a lesson for everybody to make sure you just can't use AI word for word.
Absolutely
And I
not.
know with some corporations now here, what they've been doing is even when you're doing your application or you're applying for jobs, HR departments now are now indicating, whether or not you can use AI. And if you are using it, you have to indicate it because they have machines that could check to
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
if AI was used.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's something that people need to be mindful of. So the whole scare about AI, it will alter how we do our work,
Mm-hmm.
but in
Mm-hmm.
regards to replacing people doing the work or the human element, I'm not sure if that is actually going to happen, but only time will tell.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. And I mean, it's a trend that is not, it's not going to go away,
No.
right? It's just going to evolve, and it's going to become more ingrained in how we do the work that we do, and just our everyday lives. And people are using AI for their search engine, and it's becoming more and more a part of our everyday lives. So it's not going away.
And my only concern with that, if I'm being honest, is that so much things are happening with AI. There's so many different tools that you don't even know which one to use. Like you're becoming so inundated, or we're
Yeah.
becoming more inundated with all this information that it's almost a paralysis because there's just so much stuff for you to think about.
Yeah.
That sometimes you're like, I can't even be bothered.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's just overload of all the different tools that are available to assist you. And sometimes it's better you just do your own research.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
the one thing that scares me as well is that, so the generation, not even the generation that's coming up, but even our generation, is that we are becoming lazy and less creative because of AI. Right. And so we used to have to force ourselves to be really creative. We had to do the output ourselves. Now we don't have to think on our own. Right. And so that's the scary part for me, is that we're not going to know how to think for ourselves anymore.
There's a
Right.
big
We're
scare
not.
about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that's so scary, is that, it's just really taking over, and you've just got to be really careful with how you use it and how much you're using it.
Mhm.
Right. So, and then, looking at the future, and some platforms are going to be banning or restricting AI content. Some are going to,
Oh,
some are going to have you indicate if your content is AI generated, right? And so, and then if you're not indicating that it's AI generated, then there's so many levels to what can happen to you, including you being banned from the platform, which is like the most drastic thing. But they could remove your content, they can reduce the visibility of your content, so many different things, right? And so I kind of like that. I like that you have to be able to say whether or not it is AI generated. Some of the ones that's for the content that is, you can't really tell that it's AI generated, right?
Mhm.
For the ones that are really obvious, like for example, you see like those the talking
Yes,
babies. Yeah,
I
I
love those,
actually love those.
Mhm.
Those are really funny.
Mhm.
You don't necessarily have to indicate that is AI generated, because we all know you're not going to fool anyone to think that a 6-month-old baby's having a conversation like what we're having right now.
Yes.
Right. So, but if it's not easily recognizable as AI content, then you've got to be able to say like, this is AI content. And so it's going to be coming down the pipeline, like, later on, as it becomes more and more inundated with, like, our content's going to be inundated with like AI generated content, is that you're going to have to be able to say this is AI generated. And if it's not, then it could reduce the visibility and so many other things that can happen. Like, yeah.
It's uncanny. It's interesting that, we're living in a world of technology, and now companies are saying they want to be able to identify
Yeah.
things that are AI content, but at the same time, as technology, it's growing because of technology. So I don't know. It's just weird
Yeah.
that they're trying to monitor it now, saying, okay, maybe things are getting a little bit out of control in terms of what AI could do and its
Yeah.
capacity.
Yeah. And I mean, one thing that I hate is when people are celebrating the fact that, people are losing their jobs over, like over AI, or, whatever it is. Like a friend of ours just had like a birthday today, and he was at a restaurant. The robot came, delivered his food, and sang happy birthday to him. And I'm like, that's taking jobs away from people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so to me, I just feel like that's sad, you know? And so the more we go on, it's just going to be more and more of that. So yeah.
It's interesting because I find people celebrating the ability or the capacity of AI to really do a lot of work because
Yeah.
they don't sleep, they minimum maintenance, and
Yeah.
you could just run it for 24 hours. And it's really about money at the end of the day, how efficient one person could be.
Yeah.
And that is, I think we're in a moral dilemma in terms of what do we value more?
Mhm.
The efficiency, earning income, money, or the ability, when you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and
Yeah.
just the ability for people to work, feel self-worth, be able to support themselves,
Yeah.
it's interesting, and it will be an interesting time.
Yeah, it is. It'll be interesting to see, where this goes. But one thing I do know is that it's not going anywhere. And you just have to know how to use it. Just be mindful with it,
Mhm.
and just I think it should help you to work smarter and not harder. But you have to work as well. Like, don't have it do all the work for you, right? Still keep your own humanness in it, in the content. And so that's what people want at the end of the day. I don't want to read content that's just AI generated. I want to read content that's from real people. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we could go on and talk about AI
I
all
know.
day,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping to have a panel discussion on it with some
Yeah.
individuals in the business community that I spoke to, and in the human services, and just talk about AI and the impact that it could have. I think we are talking about it, but we're not. We're not really digging deep into,
Yeah.
what does this look like for individuals and some of the limitations of it, and the ability for people to look at their value, and that people are saying this about how it could take over, but maybe not after
Yeah.
hearing what you're saying and what other people are saying. So it's worth more of an exploration into that.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I want to talk to you a little bit more about search engines
Mm-hmm.
and part of marketing, because we talk about, was it SEO or S and all that, and I don't know enough about it, so if I'm speaking out a term, please correct me.
Yeah.
But as I'm thinking about all these search engines and people relying on search engines for research and information, I'm seeing a trend or a little bit of a shift moving away from your traditional Google. Not saying people are still using it, but I mean your Google, and people are actually using social media platforms for their research, trying to get recommendations in terms of what they should
Yes.
buy, and so forth. So that's having a real impact, and I don't know what that means for a company like Google, and I'm not concerned about them. I'm sure they'll figure out what they need to do.
Yeah.
But are you seeing that trend in your business?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a lot of people are going straight to the social media platforms to use that as their search engine. Like, for example, especially when it comes to like Instagram and TikTok, a lot of people are going on there. And for me, I know that when I'm looking for a local service business, I am going to those platforms.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm going to, especially to Instagram, and I'm looking because I want to see their work. I want to see what it is that they're doing. I want to see what they're posting, and that's a great way for me to see exactly what's on their page, so that I can see, like, for example, if I'm looking for a restaurant, I can see their food. If I'm looking for a new hair salon, I can see like the styles that they're doing. And so instead of me going to Google, and I still love Google, but instead of me going to Google and Googling like, um, you know, Italian restaurants near me or whatever, I can actually go in and I can do the hashtags on the platforms, and I can get to see exactly what I'm looking for. I can look at their menu. I can look at I can do everything on there. Right. So there is a big shift to where people are actually going to those platforms rather than going to Google, or not just going to Google to do their searches. So there's a big shift where that's concerned, for sure.
So in terms of digital marketing, how important is it to know that, to incorporate that in terms of a strategy moving forward with whoever you're working with?
Yeah.
What's the significance or the value in knowing that?
Yeah. So the value is that keywords are important, right? And so your keywords, That's what you need to focus on when it comes to your content. Making sure that you have the right keywords in. Because if somebody's searching for, natural hair salon near me or in the city, people actually will like put like say, Tampa or wherever it is, wherever you are, Toronto, like wherever you are, people are putting that in there. And so you've got to make sure that you've got like those keywords, you've got the hashtags in there. But then what's happening with the platforms is they're limiting the number of hashtags that you can put in, right? Because people are doing like a hashtag or keyword stuffing, right? And so they're just putting it in like where it doesn't even relate to what it is that you are talking about. So for example, like even Instagram is like limiting it to
I
like,
noticed
you saw that?
it's like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I remember before I put 20, 30. It didn't really help me anyways.
Yeah.
People used to, as you call it, stuffing.
Yes, keyword stuffing. Like so TikTok, it's like five hashtags now that you can put in. Instagram is going down to like say 3 hashtags.
Really?
Yeah, and so you've got to be careful I guess it's strategic in the keywords that you're putting in there, right? And so it's just making sure that and even long tail keywords. So it's not just like, for example, you could put like hashtag podcast, right? But then it could be like hashtag like digital marketing podcast. Like, so whatever somebody would be searching for, those are like the long form keywords or the long tail keywords that you would be using, so that when somebody's typing in something, they're going to be able to find your content. So that's the important thing. Knowing that somebody's going on those platforms to search, you got to make sure that you are actually using those terms and those hashtags that people would be searching for so they can find your content.
And that's where a company like yours will come in, because you know this. I didn't know this because I would, who knows what I'd be putting in there now. And I put a lot of crazy things in there before, but this is where a company like yours is very valuable, and people have to understand where that power is in terms of understanding the marketplace and what is required in order to draw people to your site or to your business.
Yeah, for sure. So it's interesting to me that, and I actually love it that people are going on those individual platforms to search for what it is that they're interested in. Less so like I never do that kind of like with Facebook, but I'm definitely doing that like with the other platforms. Like, as I said, with like Instagram and TikTok especially, and even Pinterest for sure. So yeah, I absolutely love Pinterest.
I don't hear a lot about Pinterest as being part of the big platform, social media platforms or digital marketing platforms.
Yeah.
But it is.
It is, yeah. It all depends on what it is that you are like, you're selling, or what your brand or your product or service is. But Pinterest is still like in the game, and I love it. Actually love Pinterest. Yeah.
Sometimes for me, it's kind of forgotten because I always think of, your YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, maybe Facebook, but never Pinterest.
Yeah. You think about X?
Sometimes. But yes, X, that's another one.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because just to add to what we were talking about, and I don't want to jump around, but, we talk about, Pinterest and what it brings me to is I'm finding YouTube is becoming very dominant.
Yes.
In the social media marketing or as a platform. And I know that Netflix there's a partnership between them and Spotify.
Yes.
That is pending, or it has happened. I think it was sometime in October they were talking about that partnership. So maybe have already started, or it's something that's in the works. And I know with YouTube's dominance, now with Spotify and Netflix, it seems like there's a trend, or there seems to be a little bit of shift in the landscape of content creating.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with Spotify now joining forces with Netflix, you're talking about streaming just like YouTube, and you're talking about content creating just like YouTube. So creating a stronger competitor right now. And so with that being said, how important is content creating? And when I think content creating, I'm thinking now of short films, like 2 minutes, 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
The branding of companies now leaning towards film and trying to create shorts.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm noticing what I'm seeing is sometimes what they're putting out has nothing to do with the traditional branding of that company, but they're putting it out and it's very entertainment driven.
Yeah.
So I want you to kind of speak on that, and what have you been seeing in terms of those trends? And am I correct in saying that that's what is happening, or?
So yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the partnership with Spotify and Netflix, because we all know that YouTube is a giant in the space. YouTube has it's a robust search engine. It's got all these great videos. People are just streaming like all day on YouTube. And then Spotify, is a giant in its own rights, because it's a giant when it comes to audio and podcasts and all of that. And of course, we know that Netflix dominates as well when it comes to, streaming movies and things like that. So imagine what it's like if Spotify and Netflix comes together, because the reality is Spotify has to figure out a way how to jump on that video bandwagon, because video is what's driving a lot of that traffic online. So they've got to figure out how to do that. And what a great way for them to jump on that video bandwagon than through Spotify, then through Netflix, right? And so it's going to be such a great partnership that can really begin to sort of rival YouTube. And what I love about the opportunity with that partnership is that, Spotify has great podcasts on it, but then we look at creators like you who can be able to take their podcast and then it can be streamed on Netflix, right? And so I love that opportunity that's going to happen for everyday content creators. And so one thing when it comes to YouTube is just such a great platform, and I believe that a lot of people are not using it to its full potential. And so when you look at like YouTube Shorts, they've got great videos that's on there up to 3 minutes in length, that if you're already doing video content, then YouTube Shorts is a great way for you to get your content out there. And so I just feel like a lot of people are overlooking YouTube Shorts, but it's really great because it can really get your content to be able to be seen just by posting on YouTube and doing those YouTube Shorts. And then, of course, if you're doing the YouTube Shorts, you've got YouTube Community. There's just so much that you can do on YouTube. And I just feel like video is the way to go, no matter what you're doing, no matter what your content is. Like, even look at us doing this podcast, right? It's one thing for us to be able to do an audio podcast, but it's so much better for us to be able to do it by video, because people are wondering, like, what do they look like? What are they doing? What's happening? And people want to be able to see that rather than just listening, Yeah.
And I know we talked about earlier about, just authenticity and how important that is now for the consumer. It's one thing to hear, like you said, but actually see the individuals. Do they identify with them and so forth? And that's becoming more prevalent and more important when people are putting out content and people consuming the content.
Yeah, for sure. And when it comes to like the authenticity, people want to be able to connect with you. They want to get to know you. They want to get to like you. They want to be able to understand and be able to have that connection. And so there's a time and place for polished video, but a lot of times it's just like taking your phone and then just being real, like having the phone like jerk a little bit and, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be that polished. And I think it's actually sometimes better that it's just like really raw and, so there really is a time and place for that. And for us, we are the ones, we do professional videos, but we sometimes tell clients, you don't need that professional polished video. Just take your phone and just do it, right? So it's funny because when you talk about being entertained and whatever, Mark Zuckerberg released the fact that it's not that social media is dead, but it's the way that we've been using social media that's dead. So a lot of us used to get on social media and we used to we're on there to find out what it is that, our family members are doing, what our friends are doing. We want to connect with the people that we know. And we want to engage with them. But now it's about, we just want to be entertained. So it's less about who do you know on social, but who's going to be entertaining me.
Right.
And so we really want to connect with those brands that are really going to entertain us. And you said it yourself, where sometimes people are doing videos that has nothing to do with their brand. And it's just all about like entertainment. And so I'm going to come back to your brand over and over again if I know that I'm going to get really good entertaining content. When you look at like Gen Z, a lot of the Gen Z, they're on there and they are solely on there to consume video content that's really entertaining for them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you definitely have to be authentic. You've got to be doing that video. You got to entertain people,
Mm-hmm.
right? So yeah.
And that's interesting. You brought up Gen Z, and it's so true when you talk about the shorts in terms of what they like. Because I have some youth in my family, and to be quite honest, it's the shorter videos that they're into. They're not really, wanting to see, sometimes a long film of information. They want something quick. They'll be able to answer what they want. Even when I'm trying to figure out certain things when I go on YouTube, it's the shorts that I find myself being drawn to because it's really quick. It gets to the point.
Absolutely. Yeah. People can't consume content in long form. I mean, there's a time and place for long form content. TikTok, you can do 10 minutes. And of course, TikTok videos are so much more entertaining anyhow that you don't even realize that you're spending 10 minutes watching a video. But there's a time and place for that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I just want the last thing is really talk about your company and what you do. Well, we already spoke about what you do, but actually about some of the things that you offer and just some information if people want to connect with you and, use your services and just follow you on Instagram or on Facebook or wherever you're located.
Yeah.
What's your information and, where do you see yourself moving forward? Like, what does it look like for you?
Yeah. So we do, as I said, we do like content for clients, but then we also have a DIY space where we teach entrepreneurs how to do what it is that we do. So we have what's called social media buzz creators. And with buzz creators, we are teaching, we have like once a month, a 1 hour Zoom session where we're teaching them videos, social media, email marketing, photography, SEO, pay-per-click. There's another one that's slipping my mind, but we literally show them. I have experts who come in and teach them all of this. So I don't think that I'm the expert in everything, of course, right? So I bring in experts who can teach them how to do what it is that all of these digital marketers do. And so we cycle through these topics once a month. And then we have this opportunity where, depending on where you are, so we do have buzz creators who are all over the country. But we also have, for those who are in Tampa, because that's where I'm located, we do get together once a month where we come together in person and we collaborate in person. And I absolutely love the in-person sessions, and it offers so much value because we have like a marketing mini workshop where we're actually diving into like all these, we're teaching them all these tips and ideas right there in person. We get to answer their questions. And then we have this online space where, a Facebook group where we can kind of collaborate and ask each other questions. If you're doing something with your business, you need to bounce ideas off of somebody. That's what that space is for. So it's called Social Media Buzz Creators. It is subscription based, but it's like $12 a month. Like, it's absolutely nothing.
Wow. Yes,
yeah.
It is actually.
Yeah, it is.
For all the information, just what we got so far from you right now, if they're getting all that information, that's definitely, there's a lot of value for them to register.
Yeah, and they really tell me like, why is it only $12? Like this could be like hundreds of dollars. But really, it was really meant to be like a free space, but we offered it as $12 a month so that somebody, they can take it seriously and show up and whatever. But yeah, I mean, it really is really valuable for people. So my website is annekgroup.com. So that's ANNEK group.com. And on there, you'll see, like, if you go to our services and then click on DIY, and then that's where you'll see Social Media Buzz Creators. And then on Instagram, I'm Annek Marketing Group. I have a TikTok page. I do have an Annek TikTok page, but I actually like to promote, or I actually prefer my personal TikTok page, because then I talk about fashion and I talk about different things that's like not even business, but it's fun for me, right? So it's called Simma, SIMSIMMA, or you can find Simone Camera. Yeah.
Who's got the key? Okay, all right. I got it.
You know it.
Yeah.
So I'm on TikTok doing that, and just talking about the fact that I am a shopaholic and just talking about like my hauls and things like that. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I would love to continue this conversation. I'd love to connect with you another time, because I think this is such a growing space, and there's so much more, I guess, that we can talk about.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would like to hear more about this, and I hope they do connect to you and go on your page, because there's a lot of valuable information there for them, and that they take one of your courses, because $12, how much? $12?
$12 a month. Yeah.
That is a bargain for what you're going to be giving them.
Yeah. For sure.
So I hope they definitely people reach out and check out your sites and your social platforms. And with that being said, I just wanted to thank you for being on the program today. And we do look forward to another opportunity where we can sit down and talk a little bit more about this, because there's so many things to talk about as it relates to AI and the future. And like you said earlier, things change rapidly.
Oh my goodness.
Like you could do something now and then even teach something now, and then in a couple of weeks, it's changed. So it's about, keeping on board, or, keeping on track of what's happening.
Right. And that's why I love social media buzz creators, because we do classes, like one-off classes where we run like a 7-week cohort. And then after the 7-week cohort, everything has changed. But with buzz creators, we're always in their space telling them about those changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. And we look forward to seeing you and hearing you and tuning in next time.
Thanks for having me.